Let's talk about your book, Arguing with
Yes.
Socialists, because I was enjoying this so much. Why won't this thing die? This vampire that sucks all the energy out of every economy. Why can't we kill it?
I don't think we can kill it because it is in human nature to be kind and to help one another, especially with the youth. It's usually driven by the artists and the youth because the big bleeding heart. And it's good to have a heart, but it's also good to have a brain and couple the heart and the brain. There's this great letter from Thomas Jefferson where he debates his heart and his brain back and forth. He's in love with somebody. And he writes a letter from his heart to his brain. His brain responds back and forth. It's this great exercise. That's what needs to happen. We need to say, okay, this system doesn't work. I mean, put yourself in the shoes of a 20-something. Maybe your first memory is 9/11 and you saw the world shake apart. And maybe you remember mom and dad being afraid because they lost their money in the stock market or their job was destabilized and the world changed. Maybe you remember that. But you definitely will remember 2008 when the world fell apart and you saw the big government grow. You saw the banks get bailed out, but mom and dad got nothing. And now your next memory is this one where mom and dad are out on the ropes again. You don't want that. You look at this system now and say, this system is rigged. This system is totally unstable. It punishes people who do the right thing. I don't like this system. This isn't helping. That's who we're dealing with now. This is their experience. And so when you come to them and say, there's a better way, and they equate socialism with helping, they equate socialism with feeding people, helping the sick, or even Sweden. It is appealing. So what we have to do and what we did in the book is, we took apart Sweden and all of those lies. That is not a socialist nation. It was socialist, but they got out of it starting back, around the time that ABBA was dying because it wasn't working. And so they've gone to a much freer market than we are even. But more importantly, we look at, we define words. The very first chapter, we just define the words. Communism, and I didn't really realize this until we started doing research on the book, communism is not what Russia did. No one has ever done communism. Communism is the utopia. Communism is everybody lays down their guns and everybody puts their money in a big pile and everybody's happy. Well, that's never happened because they don't get past the middle step, which is socialism. Socialism is the part where you have to take it from others to give it to others. You need a strong man. You need a gun to be able to say, because there are people like in our society, probably, I would hope it was much more than this, but I would say safe to say 30% of our nation will never go down that road. We will not stop becoming capitalist and believers in the free market. Well, what do? As a socialist, you have to stop those people because you're convinced utopia is right on the other end. You have to understand that it is socialism that has killed millions, not communism, socialism.
One of the key things I think that attracts people to socialism is it sounds a lot like Jesus. Jesus said, give your money to the poor, had a lot of care for the poor. What's the difference between a socialist and Jesus?
Jesus never said, give your money to that guy and he'll give it to somebody else. He said, you do it. Socialism does not change people's hearts. In fact, it hardens hearts. I remember this became so true to me when I lived in New York City. Because I'm a kind of guy that I grew up in small towns and everything else. And even in my town here, just outside of Dallas, I'll be walking down the street and I'll see a piece of garbage or something in a garbage can and I'll pick it up and put it in the garbage can. In New York, there are so many restrictions and so many people that have been hired in so many departments and everything else. And you are taxed to death. I lived in New York for the first year. This happened to me within 12 months of living there. I came up to my office building and there was garbage blowing everywhere in the streets. Without even thinking, I said, who the hell is responsible for this? Why isn't the city doing something? I just became angry. I didn't even consider doing anything myself because that's what we pay people to do. So why is this
Right.
problem still here? Am I not paying enough in taxes? It doesn't change your heart. It hardens you.